What is going on, people? This is United versus Everybody. I am your host, Sean, and this is Man United News Roundup. Dylan's going to be jumping in today to join in. It's been a while since we've said hi to Dylan, so I'm eager to see how he's been up to and how he's been doing. I know you guys are as well. We know Dylan's plotting his secret takeover of the channel. You guys don't have to hide it. I know what's happening. I've seen the clips when my technology cuts out and I'm out of the stream for a couple minutes. I know it. I see you all, traitors, the lot of you. But in any case, that's not what we're here to discuss. We'll discuss that at a later time, and a jury of your peers will decide your fate. We are here to discuss the latest and greatest transfer news on Man United. Obviously, it's been a little slow this past week. I know a lot of you guys are frustrated. We're going to talk about that as well, but we do have some stuff to talk about, some little stuff and some kind of broader spectrum kind of stuff as well, and how it applies to not only United but other clubs in the Premier League. And I want your guys' thoughts on all that as well. We are talking strikers today too, though, so we're going to jump in and get involved, you guys. Make sure you hit that like button, please. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Importantly, we are on the road to 5K now. Please share. Whatever you need to do, guys, if you're watching on X, jump over and hit the like button as well. But we're going to get stuck in, and we'll be back in a hot second. Well, how about that? It worked just fine that time. I like when technology works. I really do not like when technology doesn't work. It is a pet peeve of mine.
Right.
Dylan, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing well. Sean, hope you're well. Chat, hope everybody's well. Let's get stuck in.
Let's get stuck in. It's been a minute, man. How's life? You were, grinding, hustling, working hard, like running down to the end of the school year and whatnot. And pretty much the last time we chatted and everything. Obviously, you and I have seen each other outside of that. We hooked up with Bill and the guys to watch the World Cup final. Dylan and I and a couple of the guys had a little bit of a kickabout in the back here, a little keepy uppies going on. It was Dylan's pretty spry for wearing flip flops too, by the way. So don't sleep on Dylan's techers. But yeah, how you been, boss?
It hurt my back.
Yeah, he did. He reached for one and he like twisted his back a little farther. And he took a hot second. How's your back doing?
Oh yeah, good. It's a lot better now. But a couple days last week, I was like, ooh, gotta stretch, gotta get loose.
Yeah, your back will do that if you're not used to kicking around. Mine does that now. I don't kick around as much as I used to. So yeah, the back, especially if you're out running on a pitch, like it's just that constant that shock. If you're not used to it, it does kind of hit you in the lower back. So it sucks getting old, but everybody does it. We all got to do it. We are going to chat. Ian could not make it today. He is a little under the weather, so best thoughts and prayers are with Ian. Hopefully he's feeling well.
Better, Ian. Soon.
Danny's in the house, but Danny's pissed off. I think Dylan and I are probably both a little whipping out the violins today. I know because you obviously Danny Welbeck off to Chelsea, which I know you're probably crying in your car about. And then the other big news, Mamadou Sangare probably going to Brentford. So It is what it is. I'm sorry for my life on that one because he's going to be. They'll sell him for like twice as much as they paid for him in a couple years' time, and our dumbass will probably spend that much on him then. Like, what's the point of bringing in best in class recruitment, Christopher Vivell, all these guys when we're just not really going to utilize? I mean, Andre Santos obviously we've done, but I'm like, so far I've seen Wilcox kind of swing his dick around with the academies. That sounded weird when I say it like that, but like when it came to signing young players, right? YouTube's gonna fucking hate me today.
Oh, that was good.
That came out so bad. I really should think about these things in my head before I say them out loud. But you know what I mean. He got a lot of connections at a lot of academies, so we're signed. He's under his guidance, I guess you could call it. We brought in like half a dozen youngsters from academies, but I haven't really seen the kind of Vivell-like signings. But we're gonna talk. Danny's just mad. Danny's just on one. He's got a bit of a stream of consciousness thing going on in the chat right now. But we're gonna dive in a little bit more. Dylan, have you recovered yet from the Danny Welbeck thing? Are you feeling?
I was kind of hoping it was just a false rumor, and that the Chelsea are just doing this, but this hurts.
Well,
yeah.
yeah. I think there are some reasons behind it that a lot of fans are in their rage and in their weeping are not quite addressing. We're going to talk about a lot of that today, and it does have to do with homegrown status. So, guys, don't forget to, before we get stuck in, use the invitation code if you guys are looking for United kits or really any kits, trackies, whatever. And you don't want to give any money to the Glazers, you don't want to spend an arm and a leg, go to GoGoalShop. There is a link in the description, and there's an invitation code. If you use that code when you register, you can get $5 off when you sign up using that code. So they do have this year's home and away kits, both player issue and fan replica, and they've even got vintage United Search tracksuits, like I said, as well. Use that, you guys. You guys know I've got this year's away that I was rocking the other day. I got this year's home on flash sale. It was on flash sale the other week, and I got it for like $13. This year's home shirt, so that'll be here hopefully by the end of the week. But it is what it is. Ian, is that his daughter or his son? Says, "Afternoon, everybody. I've been asked to send this message for my dad as he's not well, but he wanted to say Sangari 100% bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Absolutely no excuse. Take care. Kisses." Well, whoever this is, thank you for that, for speaking on behalf of your dad. But we are, thoughts and prayers with Ian. He's a top man. We're thankful to have him as part of this channel, but we just hope that he feels better. It's not fun being sick, right?
No, it's terrible.
Danny's just Danny. I'm just gonna keep letting you vent and get it all out, man. Just get it all out, you guys. Just directed at me. But all right, let's start with a little. It's Ashley. Hi, Ashley. Hope you're doing well, Ashley. All right, let's talk a little bit. So, the other week, we got those reports from Gazzetta dello Sport. Now, remember, there's a difference between Corriere dello Sport and Gazzetta dello Sport. Corriere dello Sport, not really a great source. Gazzetta dello Sport, better source. I'm not saying like top tier, word is gospel kind of source, but much better than Corriere dello Sport. We got reports that Juventus were reportedly interested in Joshua Zirkzee. Well, there has been an update this week. Now, this is coming from Gazzetta dello Sport, and reportedly Juventus are stepping up talks to sign Zirkzee with United are reportedly open to a loan, but I think we would prefer a permanent sale, but we're open to a loan with a permanent buy clause. Whereas reportedly Juventus prefer an option or a conditional buy clause. Now, conditional is messed up. I just don't understand why that even why loan a player if you have no intention of playing them enough to trigger that clause. It doesn't make any sense to me. But what are your guys' thoughts on this? Dylan, hit me with it. What do you got for me on this one?
I mean, we've all kind of seen that Zirkzee just doesn't have it at the top level.
Yeah.
And
put aside the silky bit of filth he did the other day. Put that aside.
That's what I was going to say. We can't get caught. It's a preseason against Rosenborg. You know who Rosenborg, who are in their season. But again, we took the academy players out there, and they just look amazing against Rosenborg. So thinking about that, Zirkzee is going to look really good too.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah.
Yeah. We know what Shesko can do, and I don't know if you've seen the pictures of Shesko lately, but he's put some muscle on.
Dude is he might be juicing. I'm just saying.
Dude, he looks like he's getting ready to go. Like when McTominay did that a couple of years ago and like got fit and got big, and it was like get a little bit of energy there. You're gonna have.
Are you worried about like when Lukaku did it though, and he just got heavier?
For Lukaku, it feels like it's different because the muscle that Shesko looks like he's putting on seems a little bit more lean, whereas to me, and this is just looking, I remember what Lukaku looked like and what Shesko looks like. Lukaku's looked more bulky, like he was trying to get just big. Yeah. And the muscle that Shesko has put on looks like it's bigger, but it's not the same type. So we'll see.
I think Lukaku's touch was as bad regardless, no matter what. So being bigger just made him a little slower. So
yeah, but Zirkzee. So we need a better striker back to that, and that's why a lot of us wanted Welbs to come back, kind of be that senior striker for us. Minnie's going to be in the picture here in just a second.
That's all right. Minnie, hi Minnie's tail.
But having him go, we got to get rid of players that just aren't up to snuff. There's got to be you have to reach the limit that we want. If you're not going to be there, we're going to move you on. And it's not that you can't be a good player somewhere else. It's just you're not up to what United needs. And so I think he'd do great in Italy, we saw that he did pretty well at Bologna.
Yeah.
He's had some time to play at a bigger league. It's a little more physical. I don't think he does well with that. Italy's slower. I think he'll do great. I think he could do really well for Juventus. So
It's funny. I'm trying to remember, and maybe you guys in the chat, maybe Dylan, you can help me because when you get old, your memories start to go. I'm trying to remember if any clubs other than Serie A clubs have been linked to Zirkzee since we signed him. Since it started to look like maybe he wasn't quite gonna cut it. I just can't think of anyone besides. We had like Roma, we had Napoli. There was a AC Milan in there for a little while. And now Juve. It just seems like all these Serie A clubs just are all about it. Juve, it's Juve are an interesting one because they have allowed Dusan Vlahovic to leave for free, so he's gone. Guys, be nice in the chat, please. Don't want to have to start blocking people. So Vlahovic gone for free. He honestly has not looked. In my opinion, I've never quite rated him. I thought he had a decent season at one time at Fiorentina, but then since he's took a step up to Juve, it just hasn't really quite gone his way. And if you can't handle Juve, I don't know how you're going to handle Manchester United. But so one striker gone for Juve. Openda left on loan recently as well, so they picked him up from Lens, and now he's gone. Or was it Lens or no? He went from Lens to RB Leipzig and then went to Juve.
yeah.
Now they did get Jonathan David on a free last year. It remains to be seen if they trust him though, because he wasn't a regular starter for them. I saw that they just got Kolo Muani today. I don't really know if he never really seemed to me as an out and out 9 though. So, but then again, neither is Zirkzee, so I'm not sure what's going on. What happened to Juventus, by the way, in the last couple of years? Did I miss something? Was I like in a coma and just woke up? Because Juve used to be like the top brass in Serie A, and then like they're not in Champions League. They've been shit.
Yeah.
Like and I look at their squad. Have you guys looked at their squad recently? Like that to me does not scream title challengers whatsoever.
And you guys do feel free to let me know what you think about it. I think I get the feeling like when they went big with Ronaldo, that kind of hurt the wage structure, number one. And then they really didn't have a lot to money to go get other players. They did fine. They won Serie A. They won the Italian League Cup and everything. But after he left, they didn't.
They paid a lot for him too, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. They didn't have like the basis already. So.
Well, because we got him for like 30 some odd, I thought.
Yeah.
And then oddly enough, he's one of those rare cases where I thought shirt sales actually made a difference.
Yeah.
Normally, you don't see anything from shirt sales. You really don't. But in Ronaldo's case, I read, now my memory might be fuzzy. I read that he actually pretty much paid for his transfer in shirt sales just with the profit from a lot of that, which you don't get a lot of as a club, by the way. It's a myth. Shirt sales are a myth. The numbers themselves, volume-wise, do look good, but profit-wise, it's not a whole lot. Yeah, they spent a lot on him. It was like 80 some odd million to bring him in, and he's on high wages. So yeah, for a club like Juve, that's a big commitment. Go ahead.
I was just going to add to that, and they had to keep winning Serie A and making Champions League to get that money. And
yeah,
that's that one stumble that one year. I think they finished 4th, or they were in the Europa League, and it just killed it.
Shows you the importance of just sustaining and maintaining not only momentum but also competing. And it shows you that one player, as good as he was after turning 30, one player, one bad signing, I guess you could call it that. Again, he's not a bad player, but the signing itself can be bad. How that can kind of derail you a little bit and kind of hamstring you. And we've seen it a couple times at this club.
Alexis Sanchez.
Yeah, that was weird. I look at Juve's squad. I don't really know what they're doing. They're in Europa League. They're not in Europe this year. Obviously, they were replaced by Roma and Como and Champions League. I don't really see how Zirkzee moves the needle for them personally, but we'll see. I've read that we might be in for Francisco Conceição. I don't really know where that's coming from. Maybe there's a deal to be had there. Maybe we can help them sweeten the pot. Maybe there's some sort of swap deal on paper. I personally think our winger depth is a bit bloated at the moment, bodies wise, not quality wise, but definitely bodies wise. We have a lot of wingers in the club, but still, as far as Juve go, it's not my club, it's not my problem. We need to move Zirkzee on because, like you said, Dylan, and like a lot of us have said, it's not an insult. Again, it's not an insult to say a player is just not good enough for what we need, not good enough for United. It's just not an insult. Doesn't mean they're bad, but I personally don't care where he go. Go ahead.
I was gonna say we've seen him. He's got flashes. It just hasn't clicked.
Yeah, he's not a goal scorer. If we're down and we need a goal, I'm never looking at the bench and saying we need Zirkzee on this pitch right now. Like I've never once thought that in my life.
No. So, but I think he'll do well at Juve. I think they'll have some movement there. I don't now whether the team does well. Who knows? It's that whole thing kind of seems like a cluster, but we'll find out.
Serie A has been a bit of a cluster, I think, these last few years. Money wise, the league I think was struggling for a hot second, and then I think, and now I remember Juve had some rule breaking I think a couple years back, and a lot of their board left as well. But yeah, on Zirkzee, I don't care where he goes as long as he goes, and as long as we replace him with someone who's an actual goal scorer. Now I put in the chat. I put a poll down there. What kind of striker you guys are looking at? We've talked about Nicolo Tresoldi a couple times. The links aren't going away. I do like Tresoldi a lot. Roma reportedly had a 35 million euro bid rejected for him. So
he was one when we were doing our 225 million rebuild. I looked at real hard for a striker, but I just with the other needs we had, I couldn't do it.
35 million euro, what is that, like 28, 29 million pounds? Yeah. Not a lot, honestly. That's less than or around what we paid for Zirkzee. I like Tresoldi, maybe someone like him or like Troy Parrott or Eda Young, who's got a low release clause. I think you have reminded us a couple weeks back as well. Or do you want someone experienced like an Ollie Watkins or a Mateta or Ivan Toney in there? And that's what I put in there. Or maybe you want someone young and you want to strike before they get too found out, like way back when like Endrick and all those guys were going. Someone like that who's the next hot thing. Or would you just want to look at within and look at the academy? So I put the poll in the chat, and Dylan, you can give me a response once I relay these polls so far. 88% of you want someone experienced to kind of come in and work with Šeško a little bit, who's kind of proven goal scorer, whatnot. And 12% of you are going for the young future star. Nobody has voted for the mid-20s like the Parrots, and then nobody's voted for promoting from the academy. So,
now, just to comment on that, I'd be fine with like a mid-20s guy. It wouldn't be exactly what we want, but we need depth on that striker role. But somebody that's older that can, like we said, mentor Šeško, give him some chance. Because remember, Šeško is going to be our striker. Šeško is going to need to learn, pick up skills, things that he can pick up from another older striker, then pass on to our strikers coming up, Cheeto, JJ, whoever. Give that type of mentality and mentorship. So that's just my thoughts there.
Yeah, again, we spoke about it a couple times. We don't seem to. It's kind of like, it reminds me a lot of like the U.S. men's national team a little bit, where we've got a collection of decent players, right? But they never all seem to be at that right stage of their development or their profile at the same time. The planets never quite seem to align, and it kind of seems like that. We get these young players who are promising, right? But then we also don't get. We don't line it up with having experience in the side. Now, I think we did well. We got it lined up well, I think, with De Ligt, Maguire in there with Yoro and Heaven. I think that worked out really, really well. Midfield, probably similar as well with Kavi Casemiro recently. But I think striker, like, we got Højlund, nobody to work with Højlund whatsoever. Šeško, nobody to work with Šeško at all. It would be great if we had like Cavani for another year when Højlund was here. It would be great if, I don't know, Harry Kane, if that was never going to happen though. There are loads of things out there that I think we went out. So if you guys, whoever voted for experienced striker, who did you have in mind then? Let me know in the chat. Who did you have in mind?
I mean, we know that I wanted Danny Welbeck, but that's off the table. So.
Yes. Danny Welbeck is probably off the table. Yeah. let's see. Yeah, Ollie Watkins is probably up there for
Yep.
people, right? Mateta is 28. He's had double-digit goals for the last
Hmm.
4 or 5 years or so. Um, who else did I say? I forgot who I said now.
Injuries for both those guys give me pause.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
the biggest issue.
Watkins, yeah, Watkins hard because a lot of his game is built on pace and power, so that's a lot of strain if you're already injured a lot. Mateta has had his injuries, like you say. Ivan Toney, I really like, but has a couple years in the Saudi league kind of, has that lessened his effectiveness maybe in front of goal. Y'all let me know who you think. I know some of you like Vlahovic. I think, what is he, 26 or 27 now? I can't remember now off the top of my head.
His wages are going to be high though. That's the hard
Yeah, I
part.
mean, if he's a free agent and nobody wants him, again, these footballers need to fucking read the room and show some humility sometimes. Like, we're gonna talk about Rashford in a second, but he's another example. Same with Sancho. Like, nobody wants you even for free or 26 million or 40 million. Like, lower your wage demands. Like, if
Yeah.
you, do you want to play or like what? Like, Vlahovic isn't even getting paid now. So what is? I don't know what how picky he can be. Debasi likes Mateta. Interesting. Interesting. Ian's yeah, Ian's daughter, I assume, is still saying Watkins is the obvious choice. 5 Premier League proven players. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Premier League proven as well. Nah, it's Ashley. You guys are funny. Cam wants to keep Zirkzee. Too much skills to get rid of, especially Carrick want to move the ball quickly up the spine. Interesting. How do you guys feel about that? Do you agree that Zirkzee offers too much skill on the ball to just simply get rid of? I mean, what if we improve on him, though? That's the question.
I don't know. After what we've seen last season, especially at the end when it was literally the okay, guys, we're in Champions League now. Prove to me you want to be out here, and we saw
Yeah.
other players take advantage of that, and he just didn't look like he wanted to. Like he
Yeah.
looked off. And I know part of it was the rust. He hadn't been playing, but like there were times I forget which match it was. There was a pass that he just didn't make, and we were like, it was wide open.
Yeah.
I
Feel
forget
for
it was
Zirkzee a little bit. I
whichever
mean,
match it was. Yeah.
I just still don't understand what the role was. And again, we can call him a 9.5 or whatever. It is what it is. But again, do we play with 9.5s? No. We play with 10s. We play with 9s. Like, I don't get it. Like, you can argue maybe Amarim played with 9.5s. But again, I just don't. Like you're saying, Zirkzee, his passing isn't solid. Like, he's got moments. But again, it's the consistency, right? It's the consistency of it. It's not something you see week in, week out. It's something you see in flashes. He's got techers. I've never, ever denied that he's got techers for a big dude. But again, on that, big dude doesn't really use his body, doesn't really use his size. You and I, when we went and we were there for the, I think the Wolves match, and they were warming up because we were pretty close for that match to the
Yeah.
pitch. Zirkzee's massive. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely massive, but you wouldn't know it the way he kind of shies away from things. He just is afraid to get stuck in. He can't do that. He can't do that. Let's see. Random. Oh, sorry. Clicked on the wrong one. Random says, "Hear me, Nunez on a free just for the Liverpool." I mean, I'm not. I've never really been a huge fan of Darwin Nunez, honestly.
No. Can't do it. Sorry, man. Can't get behind that.
Yeah. Cam says, like, Berbatov doesn't want to play back against the goal or defender. Well, and that's the other thing too is we look at the way Carrick was playing these last couple preseason games. It seems like the striker is kind of being used a little bit as a hold-up, link-up player. If you look at the way we were using Zirkzee, if you look at the way even we were trying to use Cheeto. Now, Cheeto messed it up a little bit sometimes because he's young. You want to, like... But you saw Dorgu and the wingers cutting in to kind of get that layoff when we played the ball to the striker. Lots of movement going on in there. And if that's not something Zirkzee is a big fan of, then if he's so comfortable playing in those spaces, that's part of playing in that space. So keep getting your thoughts on who you might like for an experienced striker. Keep voting as well. Oh, we got a vote here for mid-20s. I'm opting for mid-20s goal scorer. Someone, again, I forget how old Trissoldi is, but someone in that kind of parrot kind of range that we can bring in who's already, because I'm not looking for just like this. I'm not necessarily looking for someone who's just come in a couple games. Like, I want proper competition. Remember we had like Ollie and Sheringham and Cole and York. I want proper competition to keep these guys pushing each other. I don't want to have to, have Shesko go down, and then we've got, no offense, but like Igalo coming on kind of stuff. Like that's not where we should be. We want some depth. There's a lot of minutes to go around, and we need to make sure that everybody on that pitch can contribute the way they're supposed to based on their role. Kai's in the house. Big up, Kai. Hope you're doing well. Hopefully you guys having a good day, and let me know what you guys are getting up to. Here's a question for you guys. Are we worried at all when it comes to the attack, especially? I said we were bloated. Are we worried that our hands might still be a little tied with Rashford in the squad? Taking up a role on big wages. Obviously, nobody wanted him. Like we said, not sure where he would go, even if he leaves United. Again, those wages make it difficult. What are you guys' thoughts on Rashford, and do you think that he's kind of keeping us from doing some things?
Yeah, I think just on the left side, I think trying to get anything done to reinforce that side is hard. Even if we think about left back, because he's not going to be on high wages, that's going to eat up some of the budget, and that's going to be a problem. And so we're talking about certain outgo. Like I heard today, like Amos might go for $6 million. It's like that's chump change compared to what Rashford's on for wages. Like that hurts us more than Harry Amos being sold. So if Rashford really wants to help the club, he's got to do one of two things. Either he's got to like buckle down and show us a side of himself that we haven't seen a lot. We've seen it at times, but that we need to see him track back. We need to see him be hyper-focused. We need to see him doing all the things that we know he can do. He just hasn't. Or if we get to the season, he's not going to do that and he's going to pout, then he needs to go.
I mean, it's already done one of those things. He hasn't quite done the other thing. Again, I'm just not sure where we'd go. Like, we know Roma wanted Somerville. They put in it, but they may need a left winger. They can't afford his wages, though. I thought Aston Villa would have been a perfect fit, but they just picked up Garnacho on loan. Speaking of, what is it with Aston Villa and picking up our problematic attackers, by the way? Like, they've pretty much gotten every single one that we have not wanted at this club anymore. They've just cycled through.
Does Unai think he can fix everybody?
Some managers do think that. Some managers do think that they're the one who's going to do this, which to an extent I respect. Like, if, for instance, if you're like, I'm going to be the one to get United back, like, cool, I respect that. But like, it's not about the manager, I think, for some of these attackers. It's just their attitude, because Sancho's just had an issue with Ten Hag. Whatever, it is what it is. But I just thought it was weird that Villa's just getting our sloppy seconds, apparently, all the time. It's so crazy. Who else? PSG, maybe if PSG sell Barcola, maybe Rashford could go there and be a rotation option. They did want him in the past, but that was about, 4 or 5 years ago. We should have sold him then. Spurs, maybe, but he probably wants to play in Europe, and Spurs are nowhere near Europe. Bayern, maybe, if they sell Luis Diaz. I've read that he might be going to the Saudi league, so they might have a left winger size hole. Rashford does kind of tick that box. But yeah, who else? You guys think MLS?
Maybe the Saudis.
Yeah, Saudi. I read today that. In fact, as you bring that up, Pedro Almeida reported that Al Nassr could be pushing to bring him to the Saudi league, which, again, it depends on what Rashford's prioritizing, right? You're prioritizing like European Football Champions League, or you're prioritizing money. It just is what it is. But the issue there is Rafael Leao is also for sale, and he's basically the same player as Rashford, so there are going to be clubs who could be picking up him. So there's not many options for him. And, like, I agree with Danny, like, it shouldn't be an excuse. I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm not saying that's how I feel. But I think that when you've got a winger, 28-year-old winger on $300K a week that no one's going to buy, you're stuck with him. And financially, like Dylan said, that is the reality of the situation. Financially, it's killing us a bit. To have those wages on the books. What is that, like 15, 16 million a year for his wages?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's. He got 2 years left in his contract as well. Like, it's hard. Now, we could make a statement maybe and just buy him out of his contract and tell him to fuck off and have fun with his career. But, I mean, I don't know. I do not know. Yeah. What are you guys thinking in the chat? Let us know. Tabasi says we need to put an ad on Craigslist. Interesting. For Rashford. For sale. One 28-year-old winger. We promise he's not a diva. We promise. Um, Cam says against Rosenborg we were playing 4-2. Yeah, don't get too bogged down on formation and shape. It does change. I read something earlier that last year in the Premier League, most teams played like a 3-2-5 or a 3-1-6 in the attack, but nobody lines up in a 3-1-6 on paper. So it's just don't it the formation will change. Yeah, I'm just not sure what Rashford's gonna do. Again, this is a problem. Him and Zirkzee are a problem. If they're not in the plans and we're looking to move them on, it does hurt us a bit. I know we don't want to think that. I know we don't like that mindset, but it's just the facts. It's just what happens now. And it's hard. You can't throw them in with the resis to try to force a move. That's not allowed anymore. It's against the rules, and so it's difficult. We've talked about it a couple times. Like you said, maybe he could buckle down. I think for a lot of fans, and I think we did a poll a couple weeks back when we talked about this. I think for a lot of fans, the bridge is burned with Rashford. I think that it just is what it is, for a number of reasons, right? So, would you ever be open to bringing him back, or you just done with him?
I mean, I never want to say never for anybody because people go through things and they try, and hopefully once they realize it, if they ever realize it, they try to be better and learn from mistakes. I think that's what we all try to do if we have good heads on our shoulders and try to do that. The problem is, like you said, I don't know if he actually thinks anything, like he's burned bridges and caused all these problems and just made the fan base this frustrated. I don't know if he sees that as being that big of a problem. So I'd love to have him back because I think being a homegrown boy and being from Manchester is fantastic. It's a great story for the club, but I don't see it. I just don't see him coming back. I don't think it's going to happen. And
You gotta wonder. You gotta wonder where the forethought was with him, with a lot of the behavior. He must have clearly thought he was not ever coming back to United the way he was
Yeah. Oh,
behaving on
yeah.
social media. Like that thank you
Yeah.
post he put out, just literally just not mention United whatsoever at all. Which, and again, I know we're the fans think one thing, maybe Carrick thinks, and Carrick's played with Rashford on the pitch, but I'm like, what do his teammates think with the way any of this is going down? I mean, we've seen some of them kind of show support in different ways on social media for him and whatnot on the last year or so during his loan, which it is what it is, but maybe that's telling. But like, it's would you feel disrespected or anything if you were one of the United players in the dressing room with Rashford? Or would you just say, you know what, we get it, everyone's looking out for their career, like,
I mean, I would understand it, but I'd also be a little wary. I'm like, what's this? When I would need to see more buy-in from him if I'm going to be on there. Because for me, at the beginning, if we're going into this new season, I'm going to be wary the entire time. Like if we get into a tough part of the season, he starts just half-assing it in training, and I'm going
yeah,
to look at the coach and Carrick and go, this is the problem right here. He's the one not doing it. What are you going to do?
yeah.
So
It's weird though, because Ineos are
that's
the
the thing.
ones who basically got rid of him, right? And they backed Amarim when he dropped him, and they dropped Garnacho. They backed him when we wanted to get rid of him, right? Like Ineos were big part of why he was gone and as well, and so it would look weird on Ineos's part. And I say weird; it's a nice way of putting it. They would kind of look like idiots if they're just like, "Welcome back,
Yeah.
Rash." It's like yeah, it's just weird. I don't get it. Yeah, you guys let me know what it would take for you to welcome back Rashford. I'm not welcoming back Rashford. I think for me the bridge is burned. There's too many things going on, too many things that he's done and said that I'm like, you know what, man? The grass is greener. You go enjoy that, have fun. But the problem again, he's still a United player, and so it's it's a bit out there. But we're gonna talk a little bit about how he could still help us in some ways here in a second. But on strikers, again, we've talked about this earlier. Lots of United fans are not happy that Chelsea have signed Danny Welbeck. Um, look at look at Chelsea's squad though, and look at this Jordan Henderson thing, right? And I think there's some telling issues there. Chelsea don't have a ton of homegrown players in their squad. I doubt that most of their fan base would even be able to name all their homegrown players. There's some players that count as homegrown that I've never even heard of them before. Some players that you have heard of them that you think homegrown don't even count. Like, they've got 8 players that count as homegrown in their squad right now, and that's the minimum required amount to have in your first team squad. They could be losing 1 or 2 of them as well. Now, before some of you mentioned like Achimpong does not count, players under 21 don't count towards homegrown status. So the homegrown rule is you've had to have played in 3 years. You've been registered as a part of a English team for 3 years before you turn 21. But players under 21 do not count towards your homegrown plot. And the issue here, so again, I think there's something going on with Chelsea. I think they've realized that they don't have a whole lot of homegrown talent now that they're selling some players, and they need to bring some in. But the problem is, Dylan, chat, we're not in great shape either with the homegrown talent. We're not in great shape. We've got, I'm going to list them for you. Dan Gore counts. Radic Vitek counts. Shaw, Heaton, Carl Darlow, Harry Maguire, Mason Mount, Marcus Rashford, again, what I was getting at. Dermot Mee counts now. Toby Collier and Ahmad technically counts now as well. Those are our first team players that count towards our homegrown status. Now, Lenny Yoro in a year will count towards homegrown status because we signed him when he was young enough. Some of the academy players in another year will count towards that, like Jack Morehouse, Ethan Wheatley, Eli Harrison, Oganai, and Ethan Williams will all count in a year. But again, right now, I've listed them. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11, some of them might not be here next year, and that's the issue. And again, some of those other players that I said in a year will count, they might not be here by then either. So we have 11, and some of you are like, Sean, math, you said 8. We have 11. Again, how many of these players will be here when the window closes? Sell 3 of them. And again, loaning doesn't hurt us. Selling them does. Sell 3, though, and we're at 8. Sell 4, and you need to sign a 21-year-old homegrown player to meet the requirements. So the question is, what does that mean for the rest of our transfer business then? If we sell too many of these players. Again, I speak on this because there are guys like Chris Wheeler saying like, oh, some of these players that we've seen against Rosenborg could be up for sale. And I'm like, I don't know if we can. How do you feel about where we sit with homegrown talent right now? Do you get where I'm coming from with Chelsea, though? I feel like this is definitely homegrown. How do you guys feel about all this?
Chelsea just buy everybody, and so it's not really a surprise that they're having issues because I don't think the scat are gonna. I don't think when they did the scattergun approach, anybody had any idea what they were doing.
No.
Just like, oh, that's cool. It's like when you go to the grocery store and you're hungry and you just get whatever sounds good. Like, oh, I want some chips. Oh, I want some whatever gummy worms or whatever. And that's why. What is it? I read a thing that says they have like 38 players on their senior team right now.
Yeah.
Like it's still a massively
and you're only allowed a maximum of 17 non-grown home either. So again, it's supposed to be 25-man squad, 17 of which can be non-homegrown, but 8 minimum have to be homegrown. They have to be 21 years old and they have to be homegrown. So it's interesting. Are you worried that this could? Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, I was just saying, as for us, I think that is impacting some of the things that we might do right now in the transfer window, because we've already talked about Vitek's probably gone just because we want to try to get a fee. Ames might leave. Collier, we've had that before. We talked about players that might leave. Collier might leave. We're already starting to get into that, closer to that number. So now, can we afford to have Rashford leave? Do we have to stomach the wages for a year and hope maybe we sign somebody else?
And that's what I mean.
Or bring up the ones at the academy. So
again, they've got to be 21. I'm a little worried just based on we don't know what they want to do. We have no idea what Ineos want to do. I'm not sure Ineos even
up with these plans.
Yeah.
It seems like you and I have a better idea of what to do than they do sometimes. And again, we don't know what's going on, and it's the frustration growing from the lack of movement what it seems like the plan is. But
Honestly, I'd sack Wilcox tomorrow and just promote Vivell and let him bring in his own team of scouts and analysts. We've got this Sansoni guy. I worry a little bit that we're relying too much on data now. I think the data, the numbers, all that is crucial. You have to in the modern game, but I do think that you have to have a balance as well of data versus like what you see, because data can't tell you things like mentality and resilience and stuff like that. It can tell you like somebody's heartbeat, when they're doing this and how many miles they cover and stuff. Like great, awesome, but there's other things that just don't. You just can't measure, unfortunately. You guys, I like to see everyone's keeping a level head today in the chat, by the way. But yeah, like you just said, if Vitek and Collier, again, a player who probably could leave, and another player I probably would sell in Collier, that brings us down to 9 homegrown players in the squad, unfortunately. I wonder, I don't think we're only going to be going for homegrown signings, but I do wonder if some of these players, like you said, like Rashford, for instance, I wonder if they're not going to be sold as well. Now, again, loaning counts. That all counts. That helps. They're still part of the squad. Somebody mute Colin, please, or ban him, please. Thank you. Appreciate that. But again, it means we probably won't sell a couple players that we should, unfortunately. But let's say, hypothetically, we were looking at homegrown players. Like, who does that leave in terms of the targets that we're looking at? Again, Watkins. Go for it.
Random Idiot says, by the way, great name. I love that. He says Lewis Hall. That could be like I
Lewis
know
Hall
I put him in
counts.
my rebuild. I think that would be a good one.
Jed Spence
Who else we've been?
counts.
Jed Spence would be good. Yep.
Alex Scott.
Yeah, but I think I don't think we're gonna. That'll work. That's a good question.
The Guardian, the Guardian claims, by the way, today that we are apparently ahead of Chelsea in the race for Alex Scott.
All right.
So we'll see. Nico Williams, I think, counts. Rob Taffy, if you're watching, I think Nico Williams counts. You mentioned Harry Amos. I know what you're talking about with Harry Amos. I think Lori Whitwell made a claim on Talk of the Devils podcast. Now, I think a lot of people are kind of blowing this a little out of proportion, in my opinion. Now, he said Amos could leave. Again, got to keep a lookout for those little fluff words that could leave. A lot of players could leave. And I don't know where he got this I know exactly where he got this $6 million valuation one. Doy Whitwell basically went on transfermarket.com and saw that Harry Amos's value is $6 million. Because if you go to Transfer Market right now and look at Harry Amos, it'll say his market value is £6 million. And that's exactly where he got that from. So I think it's nonsense. I think it's just kind of lazy journalism, in my opinion. Baleba does not count for you guys, just to let you know, because he was still playing in Cameroon, I think, or somewhere, I believe, before they count. So Baleba, do not think counts.
19 when he came to England.
So. Yeah, does not count. So that is what it is, unfortunately. So, but again, I'm just wondering if it hurts us at all. This homegrown thing, Rashford being here, things like that. So
I definitely think it's in their minds for how they're going about this.
It has to be. Again, I think Chelsea are an example of it. Well, it has to be, because Chelsea, again, they don't have a whole lot of homegrown. They're at the minimum right now. So if they get Welbeck and Henderson in, they'll be safe. But if they sell anybody else that's homegrown crown, like, they're towing the line. So I don't know how clubs like City get away with it, personally. I can look at Manchester City squad real quick, and I'm gonna check and see. You guys, make sure you're hitting that like button if you haven't yet. Make sure you subscribe. So Trafford counts, Bettinelli counts. No one's even.
Is Trafford going to Leeds?
Well, again, if he leaves, then potentially. Gahey, I think, does count. Nico Riley probably counts. But then they've got all these players that literally no one's ever heard of. So, like, Caden Braithwaite, I've never heard of this. Max Elaine got a couple minutes recently. Rico Lewis is still there. He counts. they've got all these youngsters. They've got like this rando named Josh Wilson Esbrand, who's 23. Does anybody know who that is? No, he's a 23-year-old who's part of the squad, but he's there for home. This is why they signed Fabian Delph, by the way. This is why they signed Calvin Phillips, by the way. They need homegrown players, and they don't have many. Graylish is still part of that squad. I think, does he count? Yeah, he counts, I believe. I'm still looking around here and see who we got here. Sphere Nippon might count in a couple years, but that's it. Calvin Phillips is still part of the squad, by the way. But then they've got like guys like Phil Foden now, who are, I didn't realize Phil Foden was 26 already. That's crazy.
Because he still looks like he's 18.
Yeah, like that's it. Like they've got
He's
a
got
bunch.
like 3 kids, by the way.
That's nuts, by the way. Yeah, you get around it if you just keep these randos in your squad who are homegrown. Well, we just don't have that many is the issue. The same as Chelsea, by the way. Anderson counts. Yeah, good shot, Dan. I forgot about him.
When I heard that Phil Foden had 3 kids, I was like, what, he's 18? And I looked at, oh, no, he is 26. Well, that makes more sense.
Yeah, that's nuts, dude. That's absolutely nuts that he's 26. Now everyone's freaking out about the window, the signing. We mentioned Watkins, Ashley. I don't think Tielemans counts. He was at. He might be. Let me see. Is Tielemans? Let me see if you count. Is Tielemans homegrown? I don't think now. He's not because you've got to be registered with an English club for 3 years before your 21st birthday.
21, yep.
He didn't arrive in England until he was 21, so Tielemans does not count. And again, when you start looking at the rules that these clubs are supposed to follow, because we know that following rules is some clubs' favorite thing to do, right? It starts to add, it's like playing a sport. Like you can play basketball. Anyone can run around the basketball court and throw a ball in the net, but then the rules come into play. No double dribbling, no traveling and stuff. Learning how to work within the rules is supposed to be this challenge, right? And this is what you pay the big bucks for these guys for. Heaven counts, yep, but he's not 21 yet, so he won't count until he's 21. And that's the other thing that people are forgetting. Like it's not just are you part of an English academy? You don't count as part of the homegrown status until you're 21. And I think that's a thing a lot of people forget. It's not enough to just be some 19-year-old in the academy or like a Fletcher in the match day squad. That doesn't count towards your homegrown status. You got to be 21 years old. So, sorry to throw all those rules at everyone. I'm sure everyone was already super positive before we jumped on today, and now everyone's like, oh shit, we've got all these rules now. The rules are there. And it's not just British players, random idiot. You have to have been like a British player, like can grow up and develop in a totally different country and not count just because they're English. It doesn't count that way. So you have to be registered with an English club for 3 years before your 21st birthday. So I think I want to feel like Eric Dyer might not count, by the way, because didn't he come through like Sporting or something? Isn't he basically Portuguese, Eric Dyer? Y'all can remind me. So that was a long-winded way to say it. I know everyone's freaking out, but when you deep it, really only Spurs have like signed more like big players than we do in this window, and they've massively overpaid for a couple of those players, by the way. Ipswich, yeah, they've been like, come on, Van Hecke that's ridiculous. We all know what that happened there, though. I don't know if Manu counts. Let me see. Is Manu? Did I forget Manu? I think he is. Yeah. Is he 21 now? I think that was the thing that I didn't know of last time I checked. How old is Cobby?
I thought he was 22.
Is he? He might. I must have just forgotten. No, he's 21. So he just turned 21 in April. So now Cobby does count. Let's see. Magi. It might be the reason. I mean, could be a big part of it. It's definitely extending Heaton's contract, right? That does help a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Darlow for sure. Now I know the agent. Who's that keeper? Was he Colombian or something that we were linked with? Somebody got.
I know who you're talking about.
Gila or something.
Something like that.
Gil. Now I know his agent actually came out today and said that there are a couple clubs, including United, who had inquired a while back. And he wouldn't have counted. So Carl Darlow does help. So that's probably a big part of it. We've had keepers for the last couple of years until even now, like the only homegrown keeper we've had has been Heaton, and I'm not saying we have to look at homegrown, but I'm saying like it's something that we have to consider now. But keep voting, you guys. So let's take. I know everyone's freaking out. Let's take a look at some of these clubs that because everyone's freaking out saying like other clubs are doing all this business. Like when you really deep it, and I went through and looked at every single Premier League club so far. When you deep it, it's not that like crazy. Like we're not like the worst movers in the transfer market this window. First of all, stop using City and Chelsea as examples. Stop using Real Madrid as examples because it's just that's the worst argument to make is trying to use those guys as examples. So let's get that out of the way so far. I mean, Arsenal are Premier League winners and they just signed one player, and he's in Solis so far really. Ipswich have strengthened a little bit. They obviously are trying to avoid relegation, right? Could you argue that Newcastle maybe have done decently so far? They've got a few players in, Torre, Sean Storr, who I really like as well. Who else have Newcastle signed this window? You guys know off the top of your head?
No.
I didn't want to write everything down because that's just a lot of writing. But yeah, so Newcastle have done well. But the problem is with Newcastle is they were kind of already in the negative heading into the window, and that was before they sold Tonali and they sold Gordon. Kieran Trippier's gone, and he was basically their starting right back as well. So they were already in the negative kind of going this window. Yes, Magi Vitek is homegrown, but he could be leaving. Like we said, we could be selling him. So Aston Villa doing okay, but I think there's lots of work needed there. They sold their best players, arguably, as well. So and they've got like Onana's injured as well. So Aston Villa need to do better. No one's really signed a lot of player. It's interesting. Or like I said, Arsenal signed Solis. Liverpool have only signed Jeremy Jacquet and Victor Munoz. Two players that Liverpool fans had no idea who they were. Like, let's be honest with you. And the Jeremy Jacquet thing was done mid January or something. Yeah.
Deferred until the summer.
Exactly. Same with Chelsea and Giovanni Quenda, who I don't understand why they did that. By the way, that makes no sense. They've got James, they've got Gusto. They sold Cucurella, but they picked up that Palestra guy, and now they're bringing in this other kid. I don't get that whatsoever. But again, we know don't use Chelsea as an example. Who else? Bournemouth probably need to step on it, right? I think that they just lost Creepy for like
European football. They need to.
Yeah. They're in Europe, but they lost Krupi for like 4 months. He's got an injury, I guess. So
Yep.
Krupi's done for a while. So maybe they'll start to get the ball rolling. Brentford haven't done much. We've got obviously the rumors that they could be bringing in Sangare, so that would pretty much be all they've done so far, and they've lost some players. Brighton, Brighton's best bit of business was Vuskovic, which was basically mutually financially beneficial deal between them and Spurs because Van Hecke wasn't worth 50, Vuskovic wasn't worth 50, but on paper it looks great for both clubs to bring in 50 million pounds. So, how do you feel about deals like that too? By the way, this was the same deal that like Forest and Newcastle did when Anderson went to Forest from Newcastle for us. I forget what it was, but then Vlachodimos, the keeper, went for a big fee, which he was not worth. And again, this is a way to get around the PSR. How do you feel about that, Dylan? Would you like United to do some more stuff like that?
I mean, I understand it for how you get around it, clubs helping clubs. It just feels wrong to me. I don't want United to do that. If you can't keep and I know I shouldn't be like, throwing criticism since United can't figure out how to, manage things well either. But if you can't manage your finances without having to do these types of deals, you shouldn't be doing it. And I don't know, Chelsea just seem like they're flouting all the rules. So
Well, I mean, we don't use Chelsea, but like the Brighton Spurs thing, Van Hecke, final year of his contract, probably not worth more than 35, 40 mil tops. Went for 52 million. Vuskovic, teenager who I did put in my top 21 under 21, by the way. So you guys go watch that video if you guys haven't yet done so. But not worth 50 million. Like, let's be honest. But on paper, again, mutually beneficial. Looks great for both clubs to say they're bringing in 50 million pounds, right? Um, Interesting stuff because you only have to declare, like, you're buying Vuskovic. You don't declare the whole fee from the buying standpoint. That's just the way you go. But you get to declare the 50 million when you sell Van Hecke. It's weird, man. Again, Chelsea. We don't use Chelsea. They spent crazy on Morgan
all the
Rogers.
time.
By the way, they didn't even sell Garnacho, and they still have not gotten any money from Mudryk because they can't. He can't play. Um, they
Which
sold it.
I think
Go ahead.
he's got more legal trouble now. Mudryk, he's got like assets frozen by some high court now.
That's nuts. Yeah,
Yeah,
Chelsea are a mess. You've said it a couple times.
yeah.
They're an absolute joke. Coventry haven't really helped out Frank Lampard a lot. Way to support your manager
Yep.
for getting promotion. Um, I think maybe if they're up to me, I'd still try to get Mount to go there on a loan with an option to buy or something for like 15 million or
Oh yeah.
something. Who else?
Money goes back
Palace.
to Frank.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ashley's taking off. No problem, Ash. Thanks for being
Thanks,
the
Ashley.
middle girl. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you. Find kind of. Hope your dad's doing all right. So Coventry haven't really done anything. Palace have done next to nothing. Everton have only really done Hackney. Fulham next to nothing. Hull next to nothing. Like Leeds, they got Harry Wilson on a free, and
Trafford's probably going.
Trafford. Didn't they? Isn't that where they got him from? Leeds. Where
No,
did he
he
come
was
from?
at
Where was James
was he at
Trafford before
Burnley?
City? Oh, that could be. Yeah, he could have been at Burnley. But Leeds got Harry Wilson on a free, which is probably a decent player, honestly. Muharemovic as well, the center back from Sassuolo, who I did a scouting report on last season, if you guys remember
That
that.
was Burnley.
Was it? Well done.
Yeah.
Look at you. Forest, obviously they got a lot of money selling Anderson, but they've only gotten their biggest signing so far has been a free signing of Xavier Schlager, who's at RB Leipzig. So at Sunderland, probably not spending a whole lot after they went. Sunderland went big last year and they stayed up, so they've kind of helped
Stayed up
themselves. They
well.
haven't,
Yeah.
yeah, they haven't done a whole lot. So again, when you deep it, the four players and the four youngsters that we've signed so far is in the first month of the window being open. Again, there's still a month left. When you deep it, we haven't done poorly. Villa fans are not happy that we signed Tielemans. They didn't even know, a lot of them, that he had that low release clause. Chelsea fans were not happy that we signed Santos, by the way, either. So that helps me out. We got a free keeper, and there are Spurs fans who are not entirely thrilled that we've bought Teenan Thompson, because a lot of them were actually wanting him to come in and get minutes in the first team last year when they had an injury crisis.
Hmm.
So again, when you deep it, I'm not okay. I'm going to say this, and Dylan, I want you to chime in as well. But I'm going to say this before I start going to this. I am not happy about the window. I'm not. I'm frustrated, the same as you guys. But the window is far from over. And again, like I said, when you deep it, we've actually done better than most of the other clubs in the league right now. If you look at it, like, again, don't use City and Chelsea because they don't follow the rules, so there's no point. But the league is just a few weeks away, though. I did want a majority of the business done before that. But again, I wouldn't necessarily call this window a failure yet. We're going to wait to see when it closes. But Dylan, what are your thoughts so far? Now that I've laid out kind of what these other clubs are doing, when I kind of give my thought, where are you at with this, Dylan? How do you feel about all this when you get a little perspective, a little context here?
Yeah, like you said, I'm still not happy with it. And like I said, I like getting as much business done before preseason as you can, so that way players come in, they're ready to go, they know the system. I wouldn't say it's like a 3 out of 10. I don't think it's a 3 out of 10. I'd say more of a 5 out of 10 right now, maybe 6 out of 10, because we've got a homegrown player. I like Tina Thompson.
Yeah.
We've got two midfielders, which provides some depth, which I honestly didn't know if we'd get two midfielders by this point. So I'm a little more happy with that, and I think Santos and Tielemans will be very good for us. We still need that defensive playmaker, which is kind of a big reason why I'm frustrated with this, especially for the midfield rebuild.
Yeah.
We have other needs we got to fill too, and we're not really moving on that. I'm a little frustrated that certain things seem to take so long. There are players that we could get that we're not. But so, I'd say I like that we've got the midfield. I'm not happy we don't have more. I'd
Yeah.
like another strong midfielder, but I'm not. I don't think if we went into the season with this team, I'm not gonna be thrilled about it. But I'm not gonna be down in the dumps because I know we have some things we can do.
I can't. I feel like I saw something, and I don't know if this was fake or not. One of you guys could let me know, and be honest if you do. I thought did Carrick say something about focusing more on using the players that we have, relying, and then just simply buying? Was that real or is that fake? I can't remember. I feel like I just read that like 2 days ago. Because it's not like he's used a lot of youngsters, Carrick, right? So it's not like there's evidence there to support that, and so and we do have quite a few players in the squad. I do think I would like to see players like Devaney, for instance, and Cheeto maybe even used more in the first team squad. But at the same time, I'd rather have them get minutes. It's so yeah. Again, I think you're right. I mean, I'm not freaking out. The window's still open. I'm not happy. I still think we need another midfielder, like you said. I
And we
definitely
need that marquee midfield, like defensive setup signing, somebody that's going to solidify that. And we've mentioned that before.
Yeah, we talked the other day about Tchouaméni. Still, like we're hearing reports that he's agreed to a new contract at Madrid. Nothing's been announced yet. His wages aren't as high as I think a lot of people think. He's not even on like 230K a week at the moment, because of the way Spanish wage rule works. I don't know if you caught that show the other day that Ian and I did. The like in Spain, the employees don't, at least on paper, they don't pay that. So the club has to, the wages are almost inflated because the clubs kind of do that to handle the taxes, basically. So when you see reports that he's on like 300 some odd, it's not necessarily the case. It's just the way that the tax law. Again, it's the reason that every single La Liga player has a release clause. It's required in that country. It's just the way it is. Now I've read that could be changing for all of Europe as well. I think FIFA is putting through these new regulations on agents and whatnot as well. But yeah, so again, a lot of us agreed defensive minded midfielder marquee. Who would be your marquee signing then?
I mean, Tchouaméni would if he lower his wage demands. Just because we talked about Anderson, I don't think I'd love to have Horton, but I don't see any movement there, and I think he's going to be they're going to demand closer to what or Chris Palace is going to demand.
I feel like he's almost too similar to Tielemans, Adam Wharton now. I would have taken him instead of Tielemans, but I'm happy with Tielemans, but I don't think either is that defensive minded player. I like Kadiolu Magi. I think he's a really good player. I like him a lot.
I think if we're really going to go for this, or at least makes what people after watching the World Cup, I think they're probably going to push for Kone, just because.
Ugh, I hope not. People they've been talking about that
it.
for almost a month, and nothing's. He's just not defensive minded. He's box to box.
Yeah.
He's not that defensive minded shield that people think, and his injury record is atrocious.
Yeah.
Not too big of a fan. Again, the Guardian reported today that we're ahead of Chelsea, I guess, for Alex Scott. I don't know why Chelsea would want Alex Scott unless Enzo Fernandez is out the door. It doesn't make sense. But would you like? Yeah. So marquees are a big thing. Lewis Hall to me would probably be about as marquee as I think it could get for us because he's arguably one of the best left backs in the league. It's been a little quiet there. I mean, maybe you've read or heard things. I haven't read or heard a whole lot on Lewis Hall in the last several weeks. I think he's good. I think that there are other left backs that we could get as well. A lot of people were talking about Jed Spence. That could be a little bit of recency bias. Joaquin Sace as well. We've obviously striker. We talked about strikers. Let's say we get Ollie Watkins. Let's say we get Lewis Hall, and let's say we get Tchouaméni or yeah. How does everyone feel about that for the remainder of the window?
You said Tchouaméni and who else?
Tchouaméni, Lewis Hall, and Ollie Watkins.
I'd be good with that. We cover most of the bases that we need. See, the worry for that is based on everything we've talked about. The wages I think would be high, and that would disrupt
Yeah.
the wage structure and what we're trying to
Chouameni's
accomplish. So
wages
I
would be
don't
high.
see that happening.
I don't think Chouameni's wages would be more than Bruno's on, for instance. Because again, he's not on as much as I think a lot of people think he's on at Real Madrid. Quite frankly, he's just not. If he signs a new contract, then it's a whole different thing, or extends, right? It's a whole thing. But and he'll be probably on like if he comes to United, he'll probably be on like 260, 275 k a week. What do you get? What do you got? What would you guys be happy with? Let us get caught because we're about wrapped up here, you guys. But I want to know what you guys think. What's that poll at right now? 60% still want an experienced striker to help out Shesko. Nobody's voting for promoting from the academy either, but 27% want a mid-20s goal scorer. So 20 that one's kind of creeping in here. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Random idiot says we replaced Ugarte and Casemiro. Currently, it's not hope-inducing. You know, you guys are having a chit-chat with each other. Danny's not confident we'll sign Hall. I just haven't seen anything about Lewis Hall, unfortunately. Do you think that he would harbor any sort of grudge against Eddie Howe for not playing him and Dan Burn getting selected ahead of him for England duty?
No, I think he'll just let that. I think he'll go out and he'll put that out in the pitch.
Yeah, he's younger than I thought too. But
Yeah.
if we sign a Hall though, that probably mean Harry Amos is gone, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
because Amos is what 19 now.
If we get
Hall is.
Hall, Amos is gone. Yep.
Yeah, because Hall's 21, so it's not like we're signing David Raum and then Amos is like, oh, if I just wait a little bit, like it'll be fine. Like it's probably writings on the wall. Danny would rate that window as 7.5 out of 10 for Hall, Chouameni, Watkins. He's probably a little still bitter about not getting Sangar, and he's probably docking a point or half a point for how long it took. If I know Danny, he'll grade you hard on how long it takes to get the business done.
Oh yeah.
Magi says, won't you feel like our academy is completely useless and doesn't reward its players if we sign 3 midfielders in one of our best academy years? Fletcher's, Collier, Thwaites. Well, technically Collier, you could call him academy. He's not really. We bought him when he was, 19 or 20 or something from, I think, West Brom or Brighton, if I remember correctly. Thwaites, not quite there yet. Orozco's not even here yet, so I don't know if I'm throwing him right into the mix. And he's literally, 17, 18? Devaney, I thought, could be close in with a shout in terms of rotation.
Yeah.
What were we saying?
I was going to agree with that. I was just going to agree. I think, Collier, I don't think is up to snuff. I don't. I think
He's just
he'll do
injured all the
better
time.
at another place. Yeah, that's the big. He gets injured. Now he did well at West Brom, but in the championship, so that's a little bit. Maybe send him back to West Brom, see what happens. I think the Fletchers definitely have a chance.
They need to go out on loan. I mean,
Thwaites and Devaney, they do. That's the big thing. Thwaites and Devaney are the big ones I'm looking at. And if we really look at it, Tielemans is 29, 30?
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to play forever. Santos is just learning, and we do have good academy players. We need the next couple years, 2-3 years. They're not really going to be as integral into that midfield setup. So we need a midfield. We need to have some midfield reinforcements.
Yeah.
In 2 or 3 years, if Thwaites, Devaney, the Fletchers, Orozco, everybody comes up, that midfield should be stacked. We should be really set.
We have a lot of midfielders. Yeah, but they're just not quite there. Again, I think out of all of them, I would argue Dango or Devaney are probably the closest. But again, closest does not mean ready necessarily, in my opinion. They're just closer to the first team than the other midfielders. Thwaites, I'm really excited for, but the guy's still super young. He still needs under 21s football. Morehouse, he's up there. There's a lot of good midfielders. They're just not quite there yet. I mean, it's preseason, so I'm not reading too much into it, but I wasn't impressed with either Fletcher so far in these last couple matches. They just wasn't super impressed with them, not quite frankly. Magi says you should add an option for you. You might be the only one who feels that way, so we'll just call it the Magi option. Let's see what you guys are saying. Danny doesn't rate the Fletchers. I think they're good. You and I were there when I forget which one got 45 minutes, and he looked decent, right? Like getting in, getting stuck in. They've looked a little lost against Wrexham and Rosenborg on the pitch. It just looked like they're not quite clear on what to do, unfortunately. Magi says Shesko, Cunha, and Rashi down the middle. Yeah, Cunha can play there. We talked about that the other day. The Rashi thing, and not everyone wants to keep Rashford. Rashford clearly doesn't want to stay here, and so we'll see how it goes. Danny's calling out a little bit of potential nepotism with the Fletchers. They're not bad. Just again, not every academy player is gonna get into the first team. That's just part of it. The academy is not necessarily. It's the players are in the academy to develop and train and see what they do. Some of these guys are getting some excellent training, excellent coaching, excellent minutes, and they're going to go off and do other things. That's just part of the academy. And I don't ever expect every single academy player to be a first team player for United in the future. But it's fun to see which ones might. No, definitely. Oh, I hear Minnie.
Yeah, she's currently biting my feet. So if you see me,
freaking cats, man. Freaking cats. Gore, I do like Gore. He's just the injuries have kind of done him a little bit, unfortunately. Again, Devaney would be my pick to maybe get in with a shout. I do wonder if maybe Carrick is going to be using the preseason to see how many of these academy players are ready to be thrown into the squad, like a Lacey or whatnot, because Fletchers have been in there a couple times as well. So I imagine a lot of them are going to be sold. I imagine that quite a few of them probably go on loan as well. That's just part and parcel for the course. But we'll see. I'm going to close this poll. What we have here, 60% want experience to help Shesko, mid-20s goal scorers, second with 27%, 13% want a young future star. I'm going to close the votes. Thank you guys for voting on that one. But we will see. But again, we talked a little bit about homegrown rules. I think there were some in there that even I wasn't quite 100% clear on before starting this. We talked a little bit about Zirkzee and whatnot, things like that. Went through a lot of what all the other Premier League clubs have done so far, and I would put us up there as probably the most active so far. Yes, it's not perfect. I'm still frustrated, same as you guys, but it's not as doom and gloom as I think a lot of people are making it look out to be. Yeah, I thought Camison looked good. Aside from his foul throw, Camison looked good.
Camison's looked good.
Devasi says Lacey's probably ready to be an option off the bench. The problem is we've got Mbumo and Ahmad who are basically the same exact profile of winger, and so what does he do? I think you have to sell one of them. And if you're going based on preseason, I might be selling Mbumo. He has not looked great so far, but I'm not. You guys know I don't freak out about preseason.
No, he hasn't, and
Go for it.
I just want him to score. He gets into the right positions, and just it doesn't work out.
No, he was not great against Royal. His passing was awful. Some of his touch was awful. It is what it is. It's preseason though. I'm not gonna freak out. But you guys, let us know if you weren't able to catch the live, how you feel about all this homegrown stuff. How you feel about our business. Now that you've gotten context of what some of these other clubs are doing. Are you still? I mean, it's okay to be frustrated. It is what it is. It has been a quiet couple weeks, but it's everyone's been quiet, so it's not like it's still only United who's not really doing much. Still a whole month left of the window, but Dylan, if you had to rate the window so far, what would you rate it at?
5 out of 10.
Central tendency, man. So boring.
Depth, but we don't have enough. We don't have enough yet. It's not a failure because we did do some midfield for upgrade, but it's not where we want to be.
Yeah. I find it hard to rate windows mid-summer. I'm not going to give it a number. I know you guys are probably going to say I'm boring and I'm sitting on the fence. I'm not sitting on the fence. It's just I don't really like. I'd rather wait till it's done. It's like you don't like Dylan. You don't grade a test halfway through a test, right? It is. You don't say a movie is bad halfway through the movie. Like you got to wait and see the whole thing. I will say I'm very frustrated that we're not moving as quickly as I would like. But I say that every single window. I feel like even prior to Ineos, we were very, very slow in the transfer market. I get that we may be stepping back and letting other clubs kind of do some business, and then maybe taking advantage of what's going on there, but. Again, I think it is what it is. I don't mind the whole walking away instead of overpaying on certain players. I think that every player is going to have a different value and a different maximum amount that we're going to spend. I don't have a problem with that. But I also understand that there are some plays you are going to have to spend more on. With if you want to get someone like a Chumani, he's going to be on a little bit more money a week. Like that's just the way it's going to work. So we'll see. Danny's in there with the 0.5s because that's what we've got some ratings and we've got a grade in here. This is nuts. Cam went with Dylan, went for the C, central tendency. So, but y'all let us know how you feel about all this and more. But most importantly, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Share the video, please, when you get a second. I do appreciate that. We are on the road to 5K. Every little bit helps. But that's going to be it from a short day today. But it was good. I felt it was a good chat to have about some of this stuff. I think it's good now and then. Sorry if you guys were expecting us to whinge and moan about things. We don't. There's none of that here. We don't do that here. But Dylan, I appreciate you stopping by, my friend. You're not in this dojo, right? It's like Planet Fitness. No grunting. But I appreciate you stopping by, man. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your week, and things like that. What do you got going on the rest of the day?
I might go see the Odyssey with my brother. So
fun.
See how that goes.
That's supposed to be good. Hopefully it is. But well, cool. I will. I won't keep you. I'll let you get out of here, man. I thank you again for stopping by. You guys all take it easy. Enjoy the rest of your day. Try not to let the Sangare news get you down too much. I know I'm right there with you. But and Ian, hope you feel better, man.
Yes, definitely. Get well soon, Ian.
All right, you guys.
Sean, have a good one, everybody.
Take it easy, guys. We'll talk to you later.